Good morning, Andy Lockwood College Consulting with another episode as part of my experiment, College Coffee Talk. I'm going through the dozens and dozens of questions that probably scores of questions that we've gotten over the last couple of years in our webinars and our live presentations. Today, I want to welcome you. Join me for a little coffee. Today's topic is athletic scholarships. So what I'm about to say may be sort of counter to what you may have heard or perhaps wanted to believe sometimes from the coaches of the travel teams and the personal trainers and other people like that who are in the business of helping kids hone their athletic skills. But I think it's important to understand the truth about athletic scholarships and more specifically the likelihood of getting one and the amounts that are really out there. So let me just preface this by saying that if you end up liking what we have to say, what we've discussed on any of these episodes, please comment. Please share this with any of your friends or parents, I should say, parents or friends who think that they would benefit from this. Please like, comment, and share. So athletic scholarships are not everything that you would necessarily hope or that think that they are cracked up to be. And what I mean by that is there really isn't as much money out there as you might want to believe. Certainly, there isn't nearly as much money out there as might justify the amounts that parents spend on their kids from junior high or earlier, all the travel teams and the travel and the fees and the equipment and all that. When you add it up, I think conservatively you're looking at $50,000 to $100,000 if you really want to be honest about it, not to mention the time that it involves. But what's the likelihood of getting an athletic scholarship? Well, I have to tell you that unless you are a men's Division I football or Division I basketball player, which are the two fully funded sports, the only two sports that actually produce revenue for colleges, the likelihood of getting any type of money, any significant money, is reduced. Now, that's just a sweeping statement. Of course, there are exceptions. Title IX has made funding for certain women's sports, to be pretty attractive. But overall, I think the average scholarship across the entire NCAA is something like $4,000. And that's for colleges that cost anywhere from $30,000 a year to $70,000 a year. And the likelihood of getting one of those types of scholarships is like less than 2%. I think last time I saw an article on that. So anecdotally, what I can tell you about is I talk to athletes all the time. I actually was a Division III bench warmer myself. Sometimes I say, hey, I was on a Division III basketball team as opposed to played for. And, so I went through the athletic recruiting process myself. I believe in it. I think it's great. It's a great way to, make the college transition. You have a built-in social network. If you were a competitive athlete in high school, you may not be ready to hang it up, by the time you get to college. So there's a million reasons to continue to play, and I think they are great. Now, since I was never a Division I caliber athlete, sadly, and my high school coach told me that in no uncertain terms when I was a junior, I never really had the dilemma of deciding between whether I should go D1 or D3. But I talk to a lot of kids now who, number one, they haven't necessarily gotten a handle on where they are in terms of the continuum of how good they are. So that's one bit of advice that I want to give you is that sooner rather than later, talk to an objective person about what your real prospects are for playing in college. A lot of, I'm sure it's not you, but a lot of parents, a lot of kids have an unrealistic idea or assessment of their abilities. So that's one of the biggest issues, I think. Number two is what does the life of a Division I athlete versus a Division III athlete really look like? Well, D1, I know a lot of people who play D1 and they swear by it, but understand that it is a big sacrifice. For most D1 athletes, there's really no off season. There's 6 day a week practices, 5-6 hours a day worth of commitment. You're doing a lot of traveling when your non-athlete friends are out there, socializing. You have to fit in studying a lot. Sometimes that's what you do Saturday night, as opposed to hanging out and going to frat parties and stuff like that. So I don't want you to underestimate what the time commitment is compared to Division III, where I can talk to you about my own personal experiences. Practice was 2.5 hours a day, and there was a real off season, and it was it was great. So in terms of the likelihood of being of getting recruited, if you have dreams of being a D1 athlete and you haven't been recruited by the time you're a sophomore or at the latest a junior, chances are you're not good enough to play D1. Now, I'm not saying that you should give it up, because there's all these great examples of people who went unrecruited or lightly recruited, and then they went on to play in the pros, like Wayne Corbett, who played for the Jets a long time ago. John Stockton, who's one of the top 50 NBA players of all time. I think he may have gotten one scholarship offer from Gonzaga. Jerry Rice, one of the greatest NFL receivers of all time. I think he went unrecruited by his. I think he's from Mississippi or Alabama. Whatever. He went unrecruited by his own home state flagship university. So that doesn't mean give it up. But in today's day and age, with all the YouTube stuff and all the websites, some of which are pretty decent, I think that you can't, you can't hide as easily. That being said, if you are not D1 but you're a D3 type of athlete, what you have to understand is that you need to do the recruiting. You can't sit back and wait for them to recruit you. That means going on virtually a marketing campaign to get yourself in front of coaches. Now, what our clients do, who are athletes looking for, anywhere from D1 to D3 schools, is they use our software that we have that allows you to search by sport, by division, by region, by GPA and ACT or SAT score, and hone in on a group of schools. And we have all the content information of all of the coaches, and go on, like I said, a marketing campaign to send out a sports resume, send out a little cover letter, stay in touch with them, invite them to showcases or tournaments that you're going to be playing at, all that type of thing. That's what you have to do. And then on top of that, like I said, you need to have someone independently with coach's eyes to give you an honest evaluation, and maybe even vouch for you, to that college coach that you're trying to get the attention of. My last comment here is, if you're not starting on your team, or you're not, you don't get significant playing time on whatever team, chances are what that means is that you're not going to play in college. Now, there are exceptions. I've personally worked with kids who were, from really, major top-notch high schools who didn't start, who then got recruited from, Division I type schools. But if you're not one of the, not just the best players on your team, but if you're not one of the best players in the league, then your chances of playing in college are pretty slim. So I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm saying this for a little dose of realism. And if if your goal is to play in college and you're currently not, one of the best players in your league, then you need to, maybe that's a little bit of motivation to go to light a fire under your keister and get out there and prove yourself. So I hope this was helpful to you, for any student athletes out there who are interested in playing in college, and parents. And I guess I should have made one last comment in terms of the money. So the money for athletic scholarships is not really there to speak of, but there's other money out there. So very frequently, athletes do not get athletic scholarships, but they get academic or merit-based scholarships instead of purely athletic. That's actually better. And at some point in the future, I will address that. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can either post a comment right here on this page, or we are doing a webinar on college financial aid and admissions secrets tomorrow, Thursday night, and you can register for that at cs4l.tv. That's College Success for Less, www.cs4l.tv. And thanks a lot for watching. Please share this, and if you're on the webinar tomorrow night, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.